Did you know astronauts have to relearn how to cry in space because their tears don't fall? That's not a metaphor. It's real science. In zero gravity, tears don't roll down your cheeks. They just sit there, floating like tiny orbs of sadness stuck to your eyeballs, until you wipe them away manually. So yeah, even in space, a million miles from your problems, the body still tries to weep. But the universe says, not today. And I don't know about you, but that feels like a perfect summary of modern life. We're all out here floating, holding it together in zero gravity, crying without release, feeling everything but processing nothing, emotionally congested, spiritually buffering, smiling just enough to avoid questions, functioning just enough to convince people we're fine. And the worst part? We've gotten good at it, like award-winning astronauts of avoidance. But deep down, something's been itching, buzzing, nagging. And if this video found you, this exact moment, this exact minute, then don't you dare chalk it up to just the algorithm. No, something in you wanted this. Something in you is tired of orbiting the same fake planet over and over. Tired of pretending? Tired of calling this floating feeling fine. You've been drifting for a while now, haven't you? You've got the playlist. You've got the fake smile. You've got the, haha, yeah, I'm just tired, lie down to a science. You're not tired. You're starving. Starving for something real. Starving for meaning. Starving for a moment that doesn't feel like a copy of the day before. And look, I'm not here to sell you some life hack or morning routine. I'm not going to tell you to drink green smoothies and manifest your millionaire self in a candlelit mirror. I'm here to tell you the thing no one else has had the guts to say out loud. You are not the problem, but your patterns are. You didn't mess up your life. You just inherited a broken blueprint. You were taught how to achieve, not how to feel, how to please, not how to say no, how to survive, not how to live. And now you're here, watching this, secretly hoping I'll say the thing you've been trying to say to yourself for years. So let me say it. You've outgrown the life you built. That's why it feels tight. That's why you feel lost. That's why your favorite things don't hit the same anymore. Because you've leveled up, but your reality hasn't caught up yet. And no one warns you about this part. No one tells you that becoming yourself feels like a tiny death. The death of old dreams, old versions, old habits, and maybe even old relationships. But that's the price of real peace. Not fake Instagram peace. Not, I took a day off peace. I'm talking about the kind of peace that lives in your bones. Not the peace you post about. Not the hot bath and a podcast peace. Not the kind where your inbox is at zero, and your laundry's folded and your life looks organized from the outside, but your insides feel like a war zone. No, I'm talking about the peace where you can sit alone, in total silence, and not feel like you're dying. The kind where your own company doesn't feel like a punishment. The kind where you're not performing for anyone, even yourself. Where you don't need to impress, prove, convince, or hide. Where your nervous system isn't sprinting a marathon while your face says, I'm good. That kind of peace doesn't come from hustle. It doesn't come from overthinking. It doesn't come from finally making enough money to buy enough stuff to distract yourself from the fact that you don't like who you've become. That kind of peace comes from one thing: truth. Brutal, healing, unshakable truth. And to get to it, you've got to drop the act. That mask you've been wearing, the one that says, I've got this. Even when you clearly do not got this, that thing is heavy. It's exhausting. And it's lying. You've been performing for so long that you forgot what it feels like to just be. Be soft, be uncertain, be honest, be seen. You've built this persona, chill, unbothered, sarcastic but charming, low maintenance but low-key dying inside. And people love that version of you. But do you? Do you even know who you are without the roles? Without the pressure to be the calm one, the strong one, the problem solver, the emotional support human for everyone but yourself? You don't have to earn rest by breaking down first. You don't have to collapse to be worthy of care. You're allowed to be soft even when you haven't checked everything off the list. You're allowed to be messy without apologizing for it. You're allowed to stop mid-sentence and admit you don't know who the hell you are anymore. That's not weakness. That's the beginning. That's where the real peace starts, when you stop trying to be palatable and start trying to be honest. Because you were never supposed to be digestible. You're not a product. You're not a brand. You're a human being, and you were made to be complex, inconvenient, passionate, confusing, contradictory, real. You're here to be undeniable. And that stirring in your gut, that ache that hits you in quiet moments, that's not anxiety. That's your soul knocking. That's the real you, the buried you, the long forgotten you saying, "Oh, we can't do this anymore. We can't fake it. We can't shrink. We can't keep calling this half life a whole one." And I know you're scared. I know there's a voice in your head right now saying, "But what if I lose people?" Or, "But what if I fail?" Or, "But what if I'm not enough?" And that voice, it's not your intuition. That's fear, dressed up as logic. That's your inner saboteur who learned how to sound reasonable. Screw that voice. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to dream bigger than the people around you. You are allowed to stop mid-path, turn around and say, "Actually, this isn't where I'm meant to go." You are allowed to walk away from the life you built while you were too busy trying not to fall apart. You are allowed to be someone new. You are allowed to come back to yourself. Survival got you here, but it will not get you free. Free comes from choosing wholeness. Free comes from saying no when you always said yes. Free comes from resting before you're burned out. Free comes from honoring that whisper that says, "There's got to be more than this." And there is. But it starts with a question. The question you've been avoiding because you already know the answer. If you weren't scared of judgment, failure, or disappointing people, what would you do next? Say it out loud, right now. Whisper it if you have to. Because that moment, that first flash of truth, that's your North Star. Don't logic it to death. Don't filter it through 10 layers of what ifs and how would that even work. Your soul doesn't care about convenience. It cares about alignment. It cares about truth. That's the stuff that will keep you alive. Not just functioning, but alive. So stop ghosting yourself. Stop abandoning your own knowing like it's some silly idea. Stop waiting for a lightning bolt sign when your whole body's already screaming what it wants. You don't need a 10-year plan. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need one act of bravery, one honest step. Write the thing, say the thing, quit the thing, begin the thing. Let it be cringy. Let it be weird. Let it be so damn honest that it makes your voice shake. That's the good stuff. That's the real stuff. That's the moment you start living instead of just coping. And if you're still here, if your heart is racing and your chest is tight and your brain is like, "Holy shit, how is this video in my head?" Then, yeah, this was about you. It is about you. You're not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You're not the only one. This is your sign, even if you said you didn't believe in signs. And no, I'm not going to tell you to like and subscribe. If this hit, if it felt like someone finally saw the part of you you've been hiding, then you already know what to do. Not because I told you, because something in you woke up. And when something wakes up in you, maybe it's time you stop snoozing it. Or better yet, maybe it's time you send this to the person you know is drifting too.